Okay, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you people are. This is part two of This Is My Life, and basically we just had an intermission and now we're on to the second part. So I made a few notes and then we'll give you some points of interest. Going back to my upbringing in Montreal, and hockey was a big thing in my life for following and a little bit of playing, which I'll get to later. But one of the funny things about being bilingual in Montreal, where most people were trying to be bilingual, Montreal was 55% French, 45% English, and Quebec City was 95% French and 5% English. So anyhow, the joke here is, for me, was when I first listened to the hockey broadcast in French, and they kept mentioning, three players, Elmer Lac and Toe Blake, and they say the French broadcast went something like this: C'est Elmer Lac qui prend la rondelle, and Toe Blake prend la rondelle, and everyone was wrong on that. They gave the 3 stars, Blake, Richard, and another guy, but they never mentioned La Rondelle. I said, how come they didn't mention La Rondelle? He was the best guy on the ice. And they said, La Rondelle means the puck in French. That's the name of the puck in French is La Rondelle. That's why you heard it so often. He's not a player. That was the puck. So there was the first little bit of confusion, but fun. And as far as being bilingual, when I was dating, there was a lot of gals that were perfectly bilingual. But the only way to find out their mother tongue was to pinch them. And if they were English, they said, ow! And if they were French, they said, aïe aïe! That way you knew what their mother tongue was. We did that all the time. The next story is about the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. That's when Wolfe came over from Britain and had the big fight with the French army general was Montcalm, and they battled on the Plains of Abraham to see who was going to win and whether Canada was going to be French or English. And so I was in Quebec City years ago with my lovely wife, and the taxi drivers there, they know everything that's going on. You want to know anything, you talk to a taxi driver. And so he was giving his joke about the Plains of Abraham. He said, the British, they wear the red uniform. So if there's blood all over them, you don't see it, because they had the red uniform. And the French, they had the brown uniform. So if they did something in their pants, you did not see that either. They were brown stuff. So that's how it worked out, but the red guys won. Thank goodness. And then a few other things about sports in Montreal. I used to, when I got out to Calgary, I had a football schedule in my hand. I used to plan my trips to Montreal where football was involved. And one time I went to Molson Stadium to watch a football game, and the fun was not the game, the fun was the crowd. And this one French fellow stood up and said, "Come on, Saskatchewan, I'm the only one that's yelling for you." Another guy stood up and said, "That's because you're stupid." And in the same game, this lovely lady came bouncing up the stairs, and this French guy, she was with her boyfriend, the French guy from the stand says to the girl, "Hey baby, come sit with me." And he says to her boyfriend, "Hey boy, go home and see your mother." So that was, the part of the fun was the French people themselves. They always were good. Now I'll give you a couple of more jokes that are they've just come over my lifetime. Some recently. I'll give you the joke about the 2 farmers, which I didn't give you last time. These 2 farmers had acreages right next to each other, but they weren't friendly to each other. They tried to outdo each other. They didn't like each other. So one of the farmers got bad news medically. So he felt the only thing he could do was put something on his tombstone that might upset the other farmer. So on his tombstone he put, "I'm as snug as a bug in a rug." Well, when the other farmer died, guess what was on his tombstone? I'm snugger than the other bugger. That's the farmer joke. And now I'll give you the Olympic joke. Every 4 years there's an Olympics, as you know, either summer or winter. And in the first Olympics, there wasn't the big buildings with all the sanitary stuff. There was when you had to use the washroom, you had to go to an outhouse. And so this is a joke, of course. And so the joke is there was this guy, and he was in a hurry to get in the outhouse. So guess what his nationality was? And the answer? Russian. He was Russian to get in. And then there was a guy coming out. And guess what his nationality was? He was done, so he was Finnish. The guy coming out was Finnish. But there was a female athlete, and she was in the outhouse. People didn't know what her nationality was, but they knew she was definitely European. Think of that one. There's a good one for you. And getting back to hockey, I wasn't much of a hockey player. I enjoyed playing. And one of the games, I got 4 goals. And I thought I would be the first star. But they wouldn't give me first star because of the 4 goals. 2 were in the opponent's nets and 2 were in my own net. I used to stick my hockey stick out to stop the puck. Next thing you know, it ends up in my own net. 4 goals in one night. But not all into the opponent's net. And then one joke I have used pretty recently, I'm going to be using here in the next month because Christmas is coming. And that's the joke about Santa Claus. Santa Claus was in his sleigh with Mrs. Santa Claus going over Vancouver. And he turns to Mrs. Santa Claus, Santa does, and he says to Mrs. Santa Claus, "What do you think of the rain, dear?" That's your Christmas joke for you. And one of the last ones is one of the last ones here is I've used that recently here, the rabbit joke, and that's what do you call a rabbit with fleas? A rabbit with fleas? One gal said, I think the answer is itchy. He might have been itchy, but the answer is Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny. So there's a few items for you, and which carries on from the first one. And the last one I'll give you is about a mother driving her kindergarten daughter to school. And halfway to school, the kindergarten daughter, the mother was driving a convertible car, by the way. Halfway to school, the young daughter saw half of her fellow school kids all going to school, so she got the mother to stop the car, and they all piled into the convertible car, which was pretty upsetting to the driver, which was the mother. She went through a stop sign, and unfortunately for her, a policeman was there. And the policeman said to her, "Lady, don't you know when to stop?" And she said, "They're not all mine." And that's it for today. That's all, folks. But been nice talking to you again. And if there's a third one, I'll think up something new. But that's a little bit of background of my life. And I hope yours has been as exciting as mine has been. There's been a lot of fun and a lot of friends. And, of course, a lot of humor. God bless. Bye-bye.